Hey everyone, it's that Ladybug checking in with Yarn Movement. We have another Sip and Stitch. It's Sunday, so here I am. I don't know, we're in like month 6 now of the Sip and Stitch. Every Sunday, I've been very consistent. But yeah, I want to check in, say cheers to everyone. Cheers. And get started because I am working on a bunch of projects and trying to finish up some few things and wrap up. I realize it's September. Oh my God, we're about to be in fall and winter. So working on my new collection, working on these granny square beanies. Aren't they so beautiful? I'm actually finishing up the next round of camo versions because we had this one first. So it's like camo with hot pink. And then we have this camo that is like a purple, orange, and red camo that's mixed with orange and pink, same pink. Then we have a camo blue that's mixed with like teal and different blues. And then today, although I'm wearing blue and my dope earrings, hey girl, hey, Bow Creations. I love these earrings. I get a lot of inquiries and feedback on them. So they're actually made by a fellow crocheter because I absolutely 100% believe in supporting other crocheters, handcrafters, and those just make dope things. We have to stick together as creative entrepreneurs because we are each other's support. So shout outs to Bow Creations. All of these squares actually were contributions that were made by another crocheter by the name of Priscilla. Hey, Priscilla. And so she committed to doing 10 to 20. I can't remember how many sets of squares she wants to do, but I'm rounding off the ones at least that were done with the camo today. And we have what is going to be great, I guess, for the next season that's coming because we have some earth tones in this one. It's a camo that has burgundy and burnt orange and some olive green in there. And so I'm going to spend time. I have to go through and just weave back in the end threads. But before we get there, I'm going to make our yarn ball just so we can start off right. Many of you who are maybe just checking in, or maybe you've been a part of this journey for the last 6 months, one of the reasons why I chose to start coming live and just, engaging is because I have been ruthless on the quarantine game. As of yesterday, I have only been out of the house 4 times, and it was kind of scary when I was looking at the calendar, and I'm thinking about this because it actually has been about 6 months or so and going on more. And, many of us, we can all agree on if you would have asked us at the beginning of the year or the end of last year when we're in our process of like New Year's resolutions, being in the house wasn't part of my New Year's resolutions. Okay. Like I was supposed to be traveling. This was year 5 for Believe in What You Dream, which is a nonprofit arm of Yarn Movement. We started off in Nigeria. We went to Morocco the following year. Last year was Tanzania. We were going to be going to Ghana and, South Africa. Ladybug's at home, right? But with all that being said, one of the reasons why I chose to start these lives again is to make sure, continue to engage and, keep up the momentum of, the nonprofit work and making sure to just be present, show my face, and really feel like I have support. And again, engage in some way without having, in the most safest way possible, which is virtually, and really give myself an opportunity to give myself up, a few up at bats to make sure I can handle the technical, process of going live and, keeping some kind of level of quality as far as, production goes, engagement, and being consistent. I think this is a really super great way of doing so. A lot of people use their social media platforms for a lot of different things. And for me, this is really just a way to keep peace of mind and, continue to do the part that I love most, which is just be creative and, have time to do stuff like this, because I'm in the house. It's not like I'm doing anything else. And, again, if you all were looking at my post that I posted earlier, like it's such a blessing. This is year about 5 too. Yeah. For full time creative entrepreneur, I've been able to travel and do like amazing things. And it really feels good to really step out there. I've been a part of like most people's journeys. Like it's very hard to make that first step, especially if you have like a guaranteed check that you're getting ready to leave and you're going out on this passion work and the things that make you happy. And if I had to do it all over again, I'll do it probably in a different way. I probably would have, some kind of level of organized structure of how I'm going to do it. At least have game plan, 6-month plan. Because when I tell you, I went out like flying by the seat of my pants with some kind of understanding that, the end goal for me was just to be successful. And if being successful just meant that I'm going to accomplish whatever goal it is that I have for that day, that week, that month, and be relentless at doing that. And that's what has happened. And so it just feels good, I mean, I really can't say anything more than that, except that, being consistent. I've been peace of mind. I mean, rolling yarn balls may sound like it's, I don't know, some kind of element of like pastime that older people may do or something that a child should do. But for me, it has been the equivalent of being able to pay big bucks to a therapist to really work through a lot of things. Rolling a yarn ball allows me to take some of the creative ideas that I have and really hone in on what's going to be the structure of it and get it going. Hey girl, hey. Kim just dropped in. I was just telling everyone about these beautiful earrings you created for me that match my background and my, like personality so well. So yeah. So I like to start off with the yarn ball because that is really the way I learned. I learned how to crochet spending time with my grandmother and her friends. My grandmother is actually not a crocheter, but she did cross stitching and sewing. But I learned basically the traditional old school way. It's one of those things you learn by the way people teach you. And if I don't start off by doing a yarn ball, I pretty much won't get things done. So I just make it a good habit. I don't know if you all have been reading any good books, but one of the books that really has changed my life would be Atomic Habits. Atomic Habits puts you in a space where you pick one small step of things that you're going to do a day and put it down in a book, write it down, put a reminder in your phone. One of the major things that I reminded myself to do throughout this process of being in isolation, because that's what I'm going to call it, even though we're quarantining and social distance from people, is that I had to remind myself to breathe, which sounds crazy because obviously if you're not breathing, you're not living, but also being understanding of like what it means to take a real breath. And that's like really crazy, but I have 3 reminders on my phone and it starts at 10 o'clock in the morning to just breathe. And literally, I just take some time, sit down like I'm doing now. And I'm like taking deep breaths, like hold it to the top and hold it. And that right there, that deep stomach release, game changing. And I learned that I was sitting in on like a guided meditation. And the therapist is just like, breathe in 10 seconds, hold it to the top and do that like 3 times. I don't know why it's game changing. And it caused me to really be in a space where, like I'm breathing. So that's one of the atomic habits that, like I picked up and kept on my schedule. Like my phone is like dinging, like breathe, girl. Are you breathing? Because I found myself taking these short breaths is like turns out if you're creative or trying to be creative or just being in the space of thinking correctly, you want to be able to have enough oxygen in your body. And it's been helpful. Another thing is that, I had to break myself of the habit of waking up and looking directly at my phone. And, also, meanwhile, one side was waking up, looking at my phone, and checking for notifications or people like checking my social media page, checking my emails and doing all that. And it's just like, before you get into work, check yourself. How are you showing up to work if the first thing you're doing is not even taking care of self, breathing, drinking water, getting your mindset together to give whatever 1, 2, 3 steps you do for the day. I had to make sure that I changed the steps from checking my phone, my email, then going to the bathroom, brush my teeth and eating, to breathe, go upstairs and really take some real time. And shout outs to my girl Jessica from Sunkissed Organics. She has a skincare product, and we were having a conversation, and she's dropped a really great gem to say, when she's washing her face, I found myself doing this too, where I'll hurry up, use whatever moisturizer or cleanser that I'm using and hurry up and wash my face, hurry up and brush my teeth, and hurry up and do all of these things so I can get to my phone and to my email so I can get to work. And as a creative entrepreneur, and while you're in this space of really like controlling your time, you want to be able to map it out in a space where you take care of everything personal and you put that first and you put yourself first before work comes. And doing that has been game changing, because now I'm very structured. I don't start taking calls or doing business before 10 o'clock. And it used to be I would take these 8 o'clock calls, I'll do these 7 o'clock calls. I have clients for, my branding company who live out of the country, and I'm trying to appease them to be available for them so I can make sure I can do this. And it's just like, girl, you're not breathing, you're not sleeping. How much of this are you going to be able to do before you just drop? And COVID has been great to me in that space, because I want to make sure, again, it's like the airplane, for me, movement means a lot of flight, And so when I think about getting on the airplane, what do they tell you? Put your seatbelt on. Then they walk you through this motion of like, don't help the person next to you until you're taking care of yourself. Like, give yourself some oxygen. Then when you're good, then take care of them. And I really had to just take that and adopt it into my life and understanding what that looks like. And so that's what my self-care has looked like. And it's been incredible. I don't necessarily want to say that I was having like bad skin problems or things like that anyway, but I know that I'm drinking more water. I know that I'm breathing more. And I know that, I'm really happy. Literally, I'm not just getting online and, putting on face and, in any shape or form, really showing up as, a facade. This is like authentically me, and that feels great to say. And when I say that crocheting has really been, a lifeline for me, that is serious, because again, even sitting down, making this yarn ball forces me to be in a space where I'm, thinking and, really just taking time to understand what is really going to be next and what's going to be most beneficial to my goals, my health, what's going to make the best sense moving forward, and how am I going to be able to, while doing those things, help people. Because as long as I'm in a space of helping, I'm never in a space that I'm really working or, operating on a check-to-check basis, which, I mean, we can get into that at another point, but that was a thing that I really, really didn't like about working in corporate, working in private sector, working in that kind of space as an employee, because I just felt like I never had control. And my freedom is important to me. And this allows me to understand how important it is by just really mapping it out and understanding, doing some pre-thinking. And with that same energy, being able to share you know, the things that have worked for me in a space where, it's going to help the next generation of girl bosses or fearless leaders of the future do the same. And so that is really why the long-winded version of why Believe in What You Dream was created, to really help the next generation of handcrafters and young girls really discover what is in them that makes them a superpower. We toss around this concept, this label of being, Black girl magic. And, I believe that it also needs context as well, just as being in a space where you understand that when you say that you're magic, you first have to identify how powerful you are too. And so this allows girls in the space to, when I say discover their superpower, and, don't get me wrong, it's not just about Black girls, but, that is reflective of my story. I can speak to it very well that, that I have been powerful in a space where things that I think about, I'm capable of writing them down and take my hands with my thoughts and make a connection to pull them to action. And being able to teach that is important for me, because I feel as if, there's a disconnect that's happening. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that we're relying so much on technology that, we're not allowing our brain to do what it was created for, which is be the process center of our lives, So that's what I'm doing here. So I'm going to spend some time to weave back in the yarn endings to make sure that they are all secure before I start crocheting the pieces together to make this hat for today. And I will continue to talk about this journey as I have matriculated myself into the pilot of this movement that I like to call yarn movement. And for me, it's about, again, sharing the power of creativity to empower the world, empower each other. There's a reason why, those who are handcrafters or making things that come from a place of passion, there's a reason why you chose to do so. And, wasn't an easy decision to step away from what you're doing or what people don't necessarily understand. So we have to be there for each other. Okay, I'm just again weaving in these endings. Hopefully I could do this really quick like I did last week. So we can see the hat all come together. Then I can send a picture to Priscilla and say, hey girl, the beanie came out amazing. So the beanies themselves, just to make sure everyone is aware that each beanie that's being sold is a collaborative way for handcrafters, crocheters, knitters, whoever is capable of making a granny square and making 8 granny squares come together in a way where we can make a beanie. And the beanie itself is being sold as a reminder. And really, the proceeds are going 100% towards creating Dream Girl kits. Inside the Dream Girl kits, each girl will get all of the supplies and materials needed to do the workshop. And the workshops, of course, have to be done so online right now because travel is not able to happen. But we are able to ship things, and so they will still get the Dream Girl kits. And I think that beyond getting the material, a really important part for everyone to know is that inside the Dream Girl kits are solar lamps and also sanitary products, because those are 2 social disparities that many developing countries or even underdeveloped communities face. And, it's not a thing that, any girl should have to really deal with. not being able to come up or show up as her full self because she has to worry about being insecure, about being on her cycle and not having what she needs, or, you know, being in a space where she can't study at night because there's no light available for her to study. And so we have an opportunity together to, fuse this concept of compassion together and show how sharing our creativity can really empower each girl to move forth into the next level. So last year was the first year that we did any kind of crowdfunding, and we were able to work with really over 3,000 girls in Tanzania. And really the goal was to work with 300. Ended up being 3,000 because, again, as much research that you can do, reading, watching the news that you can do, there's nothing that tells you a story better than going through and having a personal experience. And the personal experience was that we traveled like 7 hours by bus. We were on like a safari truck, actually, to get to the Serengeti in Tanzania. And we get to the first school because, again, I like to have plans. And so the plan was that we were going, and when I say we, so we had a small local coalition that we put together here in California, one of which was inclusive of a solar energy company. So that's where the Solar Lamps came from. After having our first conversation, the solar energy company, they informed me that they were already planning on putting solar in schools, our primary schools. And so it just made sense for us to kind of do that work together because it was a great alignment, along with the organization called Sister Cities. If you all aren't familiar with Sister Cities, they are an international liaison organization. It's an NGO that does person-to-person contact and impact. And so they had a sister city, or the organization that I partner with, they had a sister city in Tanzania. And so what we did was partner with them just to do the installation in their sister city. But when we got to the first location, y'all, I don't know how many times I've told this story, but I don't even think I can even express like the shock that we were in, again, the Serengeti. We drove all of these hours and we're pretty much in the location. If you were watching like, a National Geographic or something like that, and you were taking pictures of lion and, the elephants and the zebra that are going by, those are the areas we're in. And these are also the areas where the Maasai, most people like to take pictures with the Maasai because they're wearing their plaids and they're really beautiful moments to experience. They also have their kids who have schools. And so here we are in this area, if you guys can imagine. We get to the school and there's 1,200 kids at the school plus, right? My goal, again, when we wrote down our plan, we're going to 10 schools. I'm going to work with 30 girls at every school, and we're going to give out these Dream Girl kits. Thankfully, I had enough yarn for 3,000. That's why I can say I know it was 3,000 because I brought 3,000 hooks with me. And my goal was to teach this group of 30, but leave them with enough material that they'll have. So if they were really good and they had time to practice, they can sell the things that they're making, right? So we get to the school and this happens. And so immediately I'm like, if my goal was only 300 girls and there's 1,200 at the school, I'm not thinking big enough. Because we had to break down the Dream Girl kids. And of course, every girl at this school, they weren't all at like the age of having their cycle anyway. So that part worked out. But also, again, I had this thought that I didn't want to leave anybody out. And of course, right away, if if all things are considered and I can work, if I could have worked with the 300 girls at the one school, my work would have been done. But we were there for a whole extra like 28 days. So that's another reason why I'm live every Sunday, because, you know, I'm looking for individuals who are also interested in making that type of impact. That, you know, you have a heart, bleeding heart for girls, because, you know, you think about your own journey. Someone in your life came through and they made an impact that just really changes, like one or two things that happened, or, you know, a moment's notice where, you know, it was something that they said just caused your brain to just click differently. That's what we're going after. And, you know, if that is something that you're interested in being a part of, let's go. You know, like if you wanted to make a contribution, you can do so by visiting donate.yarnmovement.com. If you're interested in traveling whenever the world opens back up, because be clear, I won't be getting on a plane until that happens. You know, let's talk about that. If you're interested in doing like a collaboration of some type so we can raise money for the nonprofit, let's do that. If you want to talk about something different, like, you know, send in squares so, you know, I can come on live and tell these great stories that somebody is listening to. Because, I mean, for me, I listen to them too. Like, I like to go back and just reminisce, because it's so like, it's such a moment, you know, to remember those moments. Those are great memories to have. But yeah, so if you're interested, you like the content, you know, please view my YouTube page, drop me a little like, subscribe, hit that bell in the corner. Let's spread the news about good things, because, you know, depending on who the author is, we always have a challenge on understanding what stories are being shared. And, you know, not everything in the world is negative. There are positive things going on. And that's what I'm here to just really emphasize on, telling stories that, you know, are positive, that invoke positive change. You know, there's girls that, you know, along the way that I have taught to crochet who have businesses, and, you know, they're able to go to school and, you know, take care of some of the cost of just being, you know, in a space where they should get educated properly, something that they should have anyway. And it's just helpful because, you know, again, we're only capable of thinking about, you know, journeys that are familiar to us. And so if you've never had to be in a space where your parents had to make a decision on if they were going to, you know, buy eggs, bread, and chicken, or if they were going to buy you sanitary products. I mean, if you have come from a family of 4 or 5 or whatever it may be, and, you know, you would much rather feed your family than to buy your daughter sanitary products. It is what it is. But, you know, minimally, because, you know, we're in a space of a modern luxury that is here in the US, especially, of having sanitary products. I mean, we can go and buy sanitary products at the dollar store, you know, so we're talking about we can make an impact that invokes change in one step versus looking at, you know, something that is going to take a longer journey of, you know, changing policy, changing people's mindset, changing all of these things were really an uphill battle that are important. But at the same time, the next generation shouldn't have to suffer while we're trying to get through that part. So if you're interested in doing any of these things and you're inspired by these words and stories and you want to know more, you know, please peruse a little bit online. If you can't find it, just Google. It's up. I promise. While I continue to weave in these end pieces, this is a great story too. So I mentioned that these squares were contributed by fellow crocheter Priscilla, who's actually my cousin. And she is a hell of a crocheter. She's one of those, she can sketch things out, like, you know, graph them out and do faces and names. And she does big, giant productions of things. You know, there's, you know, blankets with Raider logos and, you know, 49er logos. And, you know, she'll do, again, names and photos. And she's just really great. But, you know, she never was inspired to learn how to do granny squares until I started doing these videos. And she was like, I want to help out, cousin. And so she watched a few YouTube videos. I sent her some photos and voila, bang, you know. So this is not, you know, something that not only inspires another generation, but it also is a creative journey to, you know, really elevate each other too. And it's most appreciative. And it's always a story behind handcrafted things that really makes it great, you know? So, and she chose some really great combinations. So thanks, Priscilla. You're wonderful. Everyone loves you. Okay. I think I'm going to cut it here. Let's see here. I'm going to put together 4 squares, which is going to be the first side of the beanie. Then I'm going to go live on another channel. Still going to be on live for YouTube. But I like the benefit of making sure I'm spreading the word properly. So I'm also excited about sharing my fall winter collection. I'm still working on some of the pieces, but it's gonna be hot, I must admit. And we're not quite all the way through summer yet. So I have some photos that are coming from some of my clients who ordered some of, you know, our custom swimwear. And I already saw some of the photos, and y'all, you know, I think that I get hype over things that are being made, but I get super hype off of just people looking good in clothes. It doesn't even matter like if I was part of the process. I just get hype off of really, even if I know if it's handmade, crochet, knitted, you know, it just always just tickles my little soul. Let's see. Okay. I'm almost done, guys, promise. So yeah, I just want to make sure that these little endings are not there. These are actually like the endings that are used for backdrops. Nothing is ever wasted around here. Okay. just have 2 more to do. Oh, I'm really hyped too. I have to share this big news that was big news to me because I'm getting some yarn. And it's going to be a whole box, and I am going to unveil it, unbox it, so you guys can see it with me. So I'm not going to open it before I unbox it, so you guys get the authentic reaction that is going to make me happy after I get a chance to watch it again. But yeah, get a new yarn. Like I said, I'm working on my winter collection, and I have some really dope models I'm going to be working with. I wanted to focus this year on getting more photos of some of the male models I work with, because most of the time I get to work with male models for shoots and photo shoots and magazine shoots. And, you know, since I haven't been able to really do much traveling, that part's been slow for me. But I wanted to be sure to kind of like put some real energy into making sure that I do that properly. So I've connected with my male models, and they look hot without the clothes. So you know when they put the clothes on, it's going to be on and popping. And, you know, I still have some shoots, some theme shoots that I'm doing with some of the female models. I'm going to do some shoots together. I just have to figure out when I'm really going to, or how I should say, not when, how I'm going to strategically make it all happen while being safe, because our numbers in California aren't going down. But I just want y'all to be ready, because that's another thing COVID has been able to allow me to do, is to really think. And I have, you know, normally like really big ideas, and now I get to execute a lot of them because I've made over the years the proper connections, and I have the proper channels to do it. And, you know, I just have time. We have been delivered and blessed with time. So if it's stuff that you guys have been wanting to do over the years, if you thought about it, like, now is the time to do it. Just do it. You know, don't worry if it can't be executed the way you really want to do it. Just do it. Why not? What do you have to lose? A million people can tell you that you're not going to be able to do something, but, you know, if you thought about it, it's already halfway done. Now you just have to connect it to your hands, get some things done. It means that you need to call some people to help you. Use your hands to call. You know, it needs to mean you need to send some emails out. Do that too. You need to write some checks. Do that too. Pay some people to help you. You know, ask somebody who's done it already for some tips. You know, don't be voided off by, you know, people who don't want to help you. Like, they just let you know that you're doing something right because they feel like you're coming for them. That's what I look at it. You know, just keep on asking until you get there. Okay. I did not think it was going to take me this long to do all these endings, but, you know, I guess I'm talking to, so. Okay. Mm-mm. I went the wrong way on that one. Okay. And I just want to weave this back in. Yeah, these yarn needles are the best thing that ever happened to me. For real. This makes life so much easier to have something that looks neat. Okay. And last one. We are popping now. You good? No more Chinese hand. I like this combo too. One of my favorite colors is green. And so fatigues and some of the earth tones like really look great together, especially when the green is the base. So I like it. So good job, Priscilla. Hopefully everyone else likes it too. Okay. Oh, oops. That wasn't right. Okay. So the other day I was writing my journal and I was just like, trying to create a list of all the things that I'm gonna do when the world opens back up. So, I don't go crazy and start just doing stuff, right? I don't want to be like like, without a better reference, a Catholic schoolgirl finally getting out. Like, I want to make sure I eat some good food, which I've been eating really great in the house. I've been taking care of the gardening stuff. I went the other day, I posted a video of me. I went to my grandmother's house and we have greens just growing really both at my house, my grandmother's house, and in my grandmother's neighborhood. It's the same guy who basically he started all the seeds for the greens, and literally he has a whole entire neighborhood. Like everyone has greens in their yards. And my grandmother now has green trees. There's 3 in the front, and then there's like just bushes. And when I was picking them the other day, I was just like, I'm not about to sit out here and grab all of these, but I'm gonna get enough so I can cook some and maybe put some in the freezer after I finish cooking them so I can come back. But they are so good. And so I was thinking, okay, like when I go out and have food, when I finally decide that's going to be a good thing for me to do, what am I going to have? My list is so long, but it's really not as long as it probably would be because I've actually been, having cravings while I've been in the house, and I've been, just making stuff here at home. Like, so I've been making pizzas and, doing a lot of like Chinese food. I really love the Caribbean and Chinese, or Asian, I should say, Asian and Caribbean inspired, African inspired foods with all the spices. So like curries and, you know, anything that's ginger, garlic base, bring it on, right? I'm going to put some of these squares. Okay, look, sorry. How great do these look now? Again, that's the green, the orange, and some burnt orange colors there, burnt earth tones, I should say. Really great for the autumn season, especially if you have like a pea coat that will match these. And yes, look out for the beanie as I spend the time to put it together right now. But yeah, so yeah, my list of going out, you know, places is, I don't know, it's pretty long because I'm like, if I'm going out, I want something good, good. But again, that's not happening yet. You know, I'm watching people, they're going out, especially here. Um, you know, they recently started the season back up for football, and there's a bunch of bars that open, you know, and they're, do you know they're trying to sell food too? Mm-mm. No. And probably I can say that because I like to cook, but mm-mm. Oh yeah, girl, I know this green is popping, huh? You know I love me some green. That's why I was on that green dress you posted, and you were showing me the other day. I was like, oh my god, look at that green. So let's hurry up and get these done before I get booted. Yeah, these greens do look good. She did a good job on doing the solid and using those camos. I think these are Red Heart, if I'm not mistaken, Red Heart camos. Um, with, you know, this orange one here again, you know, it's that camo that's here in the middle where you can see the pink and the orange popping off in the red. And then these blues, you can't really tell because it's like so close, but I think you can tell a little bit. Um, but this is my favorite. So I've already recreated these and sold a few. So I did an orange and camo one and a red. So those already left. The pink one's still lingering around though. Um, but yeah, they look good. Let's see. I had 10 minutes before I get booted. I was happy to see that was that last Sunday? I don't know what Sunday it was, but I think it was last Sunday. Was Patti LaBelle and um why is my world escaping me right now? Patti LaBelle, the verses. Who's the verses with? Gladys Knight. Gladys Knight, Patti LaBelle, and Dionne Warwick. Last Sunday. I think that was last Sunday. I don't know. My days are mixing up. But I was happy to see that even them, after an hour, they got booted. I was like, oh, so it's not just us little people in the world. Everyone's getting booted. That's fine. Which they should not boot people off of verses. They have like millions of people, you know, in there. But, you know, what do I know? But I was happy to see that happened. I was like, see, happy that happens to them too. I feel like that was a small victory for us, you know. Okay. So I'm just going to put together this other side, and I will switch platforms because they're going to kick me out, but it's fine. I think an hour's time, people to go back and go view at least a part of this. So I can take snippets. It's good, you know? Yeah, it's good. Okay, trying to hurry up. I got 7 minutes. They haven't started counting me down yet, but I want to make sure. Okay. So we have 2 and 2, and we're gonna put these 2 together. Make sure I do it on the right side. Let's see. Kim, I feel like these are your colors too. I see you in a lot of earth tones. Hey, hey. Let's see. Anytime I'm like trying to rush through something to beat some time, I just always think about when I was younger. I used to always have crochet with, like my crochet bag with me and all my yarn. And like literally, sometimes you don't want to stop in the middle of a stitch or a row because sometimes you can't always come back, and be in the same like flow. Like sometimes you just got a rhythm. And so I would literally try to finish a row before I go and do something. Like literally sometimes I'll like, you know, hold my pee, like not eat when everyone else is, or, and I just remember my mom, she would say like, girl, if you don't get in here, get in here and finish this up. Like, but what an incredible thing to say. It's not like I was doing nothing that was negative. It wasn't like I was spending a whole lot of time like watching TV. Partially because of the fact that, it was a rule in our house. My mom would not allow us to watch TV during the week. And I still appreciate that until this day. During that time we were like, psh, me and my brothers would sneak and definitely get the TV on. This was when it was this big box TVs. And, we knew pretty much what time my mom was going to come home, or even with my dad. But that wasn't really like my dad's rule at all. Like my mom was like really the one who was like, no TV, you guys need to be doing other stuff. So we're like in sports, but we would turn that box TV because she would sometimes turn it towards a wall. But the only problem with the box TV is that it got hot. And so I don't know about y'all, but I love to watch cartoons, like especially like when I come home. And then also like during that time, MTV Jams would be on at that time because it would come on at 3:30 and it was like right on time when we get in the house. And it's just like my mom would get there like 4, so we like had 30 minutes of watching TV, and then hurry up and turn the TV to the wall. But she got hip to that too. She's like, "Why is this TV hot?" But yeah. Oh, thanks. So this is one side of the beanie. For those who just jumped in, these are the beanies that we're making. So I have to do the other side. I'm gonna get kicked off of Instagram because That's what they like to do, is kick people off for whatever reason. But every Sunday, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I'm here sipping, stitching, telling stories, engaging, showing myself, personality, giving you guys some yarn, some yarn dope, and some sibs, you know. If you all are interested in knowing a little bit more about the nonprofit work with the girls that we're working with, please check out donate at Yarn Movement or donate.yarnmovement.com. If you go onto my YouTube page, which we're live now, we have some videos from our previous work of doing our activations in Nigeria, in Morocco, and Tanzania, along with some fun videos just to show some storytelling of some of the girls that we've worked with up until this point. And again, if you're a crocheter and you're like me and you love making granny squares and you're interested in making a contribution in that way, I always ask for crocheters to make 8 squares. And what I'll do live is, you know, show your squares and make the beanies. And then 100% of the proceeds goes towards what we call Dream Girl Kits. One hat will impact 2 girls. And inside the Dream Girl Kits, they'll get the supplies and materials needed for the actual workshop where they're learning to make dream catchers, journal their journey, and learn basic instructions of crochet, along with receiving a solar energy lamp and personal hygiene products. And it's a perfect way to really live up to the Yarn Movement mission of sharing the power of creativity to really empower the world. Last year, we were able to again work with 3,000 girls, where all of them received. What we had to do is segment off some of the things because our goal was to work with 300 girls. And again, if you were just viewing a little earlier when I was sharing the story, that when we got to the first school we're working at, there were 1,200 kids. So right away, I knew that for me, even though like it was a thought process of starting the mission of having the charitable work happen from a thought of being able to impact and inspire girls, came from a space now that has grown bigger than a solo person going after doing it. And I'm looking to connect with individuals who are equally compassionate about touching the lives of young girls and delivering this creative thing that many of us in our community really love to do. But even if you're not a crocheter and you have the history of having someone in your life who has inspired you in some way, whether then it was your grandmother who made a blanket for you, and that loving reminder of having that comfort is the comfort that we're going after, making sure that girls that are normally forgotten, they're unseen, unheard, have an opportunity to have a voice and have the opportunity to really lead this life of being fearless in the future by understanding that complete strangers can come in and say, girl, you can do it. You're dope. We came all the way on the other side of the world to come tell you how great you are and give you some tools to get there. And that's what we're doing. And if you're interested in being a part of that work, again, you can send me a message. I'm really active. Of course, I have a team too who make it easy to transition as far as conversations and chats go. If you have an idea, you want to do some collaborative work, you want to be a part of the process, you want to get on a plane together, girl or guy, whoever, let's do it. Okay, so until next Sunday, I'm gonna jump off here because I'm gonna get kicked out. They're already counting me down, and I'm going to continue on YouTube and sign out. Okay. Let's see. There we go. we are back potentially. There we go. Okay. So now I am putting together the other side. So I have been on live on my YouTube channel. Look up Yarn Movement. Every Sunday I come live to do these sip and stitches. So for those who are just tuning in, let's have a sip together. We are sipping to life and the joys of it. Thankful to still be blessed to have air in our lungs and capability to walk this good earth. And we'll continue to do so as long as God says the same. So cheers to you all. So again, we come every Sunday to really have an opportunity to engage, tell the stories about believe in what you dream. Believe in what you dream is our way of helping young girls discover their superpowers. And we do so through the vehicle of crochet. And we can say at the same time, the vehicle of yarn, because yarn is just so colorful. I mean, like, look at this space. What are you going through? And if you see so much color, that it's not going to be responsive in a way that is positive. I mean, come on, right? So we believe, hey, Roslyn, hey, Kim. So creating these granny square beanies. Let's see. So last week we did this one live. The week before that we did this one, and the week before that we had this one, which is my favorite one. Don't tell anyone. And today we're doing this version of this green camo. It has like some earth tones in it or whatever. But these granny square beanies are being created to support the nonprofit arm of Yarn Movement called Believe in What You Dream. Again, we're helping young girls discover their superpowers, and we're doing it in a way where when we say superpowers, we're talking about confidence. We're talking about capability. We're talking about passion. We're talking about, that innate ability that each and every one of us are born with, that sometimes you just need somebody to come in and remind you how dope you are. And we have an opportunity to do that. And we get to do so together, which fits right into the mission of Yarn Movement, which is to share the power of creativity to empower the world. And the focus right now is really young girls. And, young girls' stories are reflective of myself, because, I mean, I was once a little girl, and I have these inspiring things that I really want to do. And I had enough people around me within the community and my family pushing me on and encouraging and just sharing insightful ways to really get there. So by the time I learned how to crochet, which was around the age 12, it became the vehicle to my life that continues to be a part of me. No matter how many, jobs I've had, because I mean, let's just face it, that was one of the things about our generation. We had to be educated. We had to go to school. We had to get, the quote unquote good job. And one of the things that just allowed that to happen was being able to have the mindset of understanding how to get through, create a plan, hustle, hustle your way, fake it till you make it, and so if you're anything like myself or around that community or had that kind of push, you understand what it is for you right now to, fight through what is known as now the imposter, like imposter syndrome, because it's not like every day you're going to wake up and say, yeah, I can do this. I'm, full of confidence. I can just do anything. I can make the world move. It happens with, a strategic understanding of how it's going to work for you. And that's exactly what's going on for girls, where minimally, I've been crocheting for really over 20 years, and I've had a crochet business and been in this business for 19. So I'm going on 20 years on that. And what I can say for sure is that crochet has afforded me not to be a starving college student when I was there, and opened up opportunities where I didn't have to make rash decisions in a mindset of like scarcity and, like not having, because I've always operated in a space that if I needed to make some money, I could. which put me in a space where I had a little bit more power in my decision making, like for career. And, for a lot of things actually that just created like this really flexibility that was just really great. Hey, Romy. And so that piece right there is important. And, in my mind, when I was thinking about, sitting down and talking to a few people about how, creating a nonprofit could work, and how, it can fit into this narrative of, using a positive vehicle of crochet to create really just, outcomes that were scalable at the end of the day. It was something that, we can continue to show. And also teach it early enough that by the time girls are going to college or moving forward into what is going to be the next phase of their life, going from teenage years into adulthood, that they have some kind of tool that just, number one, just gives them this type of confidence needed to have the audacity to make a mistake or jump out there and really just go out. And I think that most people, when they speak of failures and mistakes, it's done in like a negative form. But for me, it's very empowering, because when you have mistakes or when you have modifications that you have to do or changes that have to be made, that is assumed that you were doing it one way to start off with. So, the only way to understanding what's going to be the best way, the best model for yourself is for you to step out and do it. People can lead you to the water all day, but no one's going to be able to make you be in a space to drink it or even have the flavor that they had, And so for me, I believe that starts with the intentionality of understanding, like, you have confidence and understanding what that looks like, what it feels like. So when someone asks you, can you do something, you can answer for sure, based on what you know about yourself. And that, for me, is what Believe in What You Dream is doing for girls. When we say discover your superpowers, you understand like what inside of you is allowing you to have the energy needed to push forth whatever you're looking to do, and whatever, journey you're on, depending on where we meet up with these girls. Because for me, I'm working with girls really at a range of from 9 to 19 almost. And that seems really far, but you think about just your own journey, where you were at 9, where you were in between, and where you were at 19. It's very, very different. But understanding in that same energy or in that same space, where would you have been or where would you be if you understood who you were and you had the confidence to make a decision that could really change the next, the next steps for you, change your life, And a part of that has to do with confidence. And so when I say helping discover your superpower, that's what we're doing. Just, giving a glimpse. And, from there, it's about partnering with other organizations to kind of create the stones that are needed to create this path of success. And I'm not sure if Cameo is still in here, but Great Glam and Guts is one of the organizations that Believe in What You Dream will be partnering with, because her organization is giving really the tools that are needed to really establish integrity. And that is an important step as well, because it must start with, number one, having confidence to know that you can, really be someone. You have a right to be a fearless leader of the future. You have the right to be the best version of yourself. And, it requires you to have a vision to understand what that is. And then also, when you are in the space of understanding, you do need help to get to the next step of it, to get to the next milestone, understanding where you're going to get that from. And that requires tools. And so it's just a tool, if you think of it all as, wrapping this or, weaving in this tapestry of life, along the way, you pick up lessons and you pick up tools and you pick up different things that are going to really allow you to, really get to that place that, really is reflective of those dreams you have. And so when you say believe in what you dream, is very important to understand the lexicon of your language when you're speaking, because you're speaking life into the things that you're doing. So when you say believe, versus just follow, because normally the sentence is, oh, follow your dreams. But if you didn't believe and have the confidence that you can even follow them in a space where you see yourself present in them, then it's a facade. And we are not dealing with facades, we're dealing with realities, And so believing in it must start with you identifying your personal power that shows up in your own journey of life. And I'm doing that through the vehicle of crochet by literally doing this exchange of thought to your hands, right? So I call it the think link methodology. So you're literally thinking and linking to your hands. So you have a thought in your mind, and as long as you put yourself in position where you're willing to do whatever you have to take the first step, then you have identified, what your power is, because your power is taking the first step and putting some action behind it. And for many of us, we don't really get an opportunity to really take on that passion until after, we're out of high school, after we're, kind of like on our own type deal. And it's expected that we're going to take all of the knowledge that we've received from books or some kind of like level of listening to somebody else's experience and try to apply it to our life. And the goal with the workshop of Believe in What You Dream is to activate the mind to understand that, this doesn't have to wait. This can happen now. Let's put some real emphasis on, enlightenment on what you have right now currently, so you can understand what is required moving forward, whether it be from you learning something, from you sitting down, taking a master class, figuring out how someone that you really look up to has been able to do it, but understanding what parts of their journey really fits into yours, because not every single step of somebody's life, when people are saying, oh, let me give you 10 steps, it's going to help you get to where I got to. It doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to happen. That's just what worked with them. And, it's a requirement of understanding like how that fits into your life. And being able to have the proper like muscle memory, to really want to do it. And that takes exercise, just as many of us will go into the gym. And I mean, nobody's going to the gym right now, but, or maybe there are people, but, just as when you go in and working out, what you're doing is creating muscle memory that by the time, you ate that good meal that you really wanted, that wasn't really healthy for you, but, that when you go and work out, you know how to get the weight off that doesn't necessarily need to be there. Same thing is true when you're looking at your life and your life's goals. Just because, we're living in a society where it says that you have to do certain things a certain way in a certain, pattern to get the best results, does not mean that it necessarily fits into the way your lifestyle is structured. Not everybody's going to college. Not everybody is, taking the big job. Not everyone is doing, what they really love, but, not everyone has to go through that same process. I find that, many people that I have encountered through this journey of life, kind of relic in the thought of really going after and doing the work that they really believe in. And it normally comes after they've given their good years to organization or corporation to really make other people's billions of dollars and help make an impact in, another person's brand, and then finally have an opportunity to do their life's work and, have the time and, think about, oh man, if I would have been able to do this sooner. And it's just like, why not? Why not take the steps now? If you end up not really having the best results, make modifications. If, if you end up landing flat on your face and, it's not God's, time for you, or whatever it may be, for whatever you were going after, doesn't mean that it's a loss. But, one of the things is that you didn't miss out on that opportunity to even try. And so that's what we're dealing with, is creating like this space of saying, when you say discover your superpower, it's like, that's your superpower, to give you the ability to try and go after and believe in yourself in that moment where, you understand, for when you finally connect with people who are your tribe, the people who are going to support you through, they actually believe that you can do it. And they're 100% in support, because they look at you and feel that you're so passionate about it, that they just want to see you be successful. Those are the people you want to invest your energy into, not trying to just have friends to say you have friends if they're not supporting you, Same thing with, making decisions on what you're going to actually spend your time doing, Like me, I'm coming here and I'm crocheting. I love to crochet, and it has a great ROI. I meet great people, make some really dope things. I've been able to travel to some really incredible locations, have life experiences that, you almost can't pay for. They have to just happen in this natural way that, feels so great, and you can't duplicate that. You can't, as much as you may want people to experience the same thing, they have to want to experience for themselves and visualize it. So, saying all that to say, if you are interested in making an impact in the lives of young girls in developing countries and underdeveloped countries, and maybe it's developed countries that just haven't necessarily paid attention to the livelihood of girls in their communities, where they're feeling like they're unseen, unheard, don't necessarily have an opportunity to really take advantage of life, then, and you have that same compassion, there are a few ways that you can get involved. If you just want to make a contribution, visit donate.yarnmovement.com. Again, that's donate.yarnmovement.com, and make a contribution to the nonprofit Believe in What You Dream. It is a registered 501c3, so you will receive a tax deduction. And given this year how everything is going on with the government, you'll receive a double tax deduction this time around, where they're deducting 60% of whatever you donate. So that's a double additive, including the fact that if you are a crocheter and you're interested in making a contribution just by, contributing granny squares for these beautiful beads that are being prepared, I can share a mailing address where you can send those squares to, and I'll be happy to come on live, unbox, and show the world and those who are in the network how you've been involved in your incredible handwork that you're putting together. And we can sell the beanie, and 100% of the proceeds will go towards the Dream Girl kits. If you have an idea of doing a collaboration together, you want to do a giveaway, you want to do a matching, whatever it may be, let's do it. Because at the end of the day, these girls deserve an opportunity to really take on the world with their best foot put forward. And, not only are we doing the workshop, but we're also giving them, some tools and resources in the form of personal hygiene and, personal energy that's going to allow them to be able to do so in a productive way. So we are almost done. I'm just going to do the closing part. So this is the inside of the beanie. So that's why you see the seams that were there. So this is a total of 8 beanies, and I'm just going to close it off. And if you are a crocheter or a knitter and you don't have yarn needles, get your life together, okay? For real. Just makes life so much easier. And it makes really things look really neat. Oops. Okay, almost done. Okay, so we got it all the way to the end, and so just gonna close this up. So it's really tight, so it's all closed up. And I just want to secure it. Then I like to do kind of like a X at the top to really help reinforce, to make sure that none of the stitches come loose or anything like that, so people don't have to worry about the top of their beanie coming apart. That would be terrible. And there we go. Boom, boom, boom. So the beanie is almost complete. I just need to do one last part, but look how great that looks. That just reminds me of fall, like you're in the middle of the forest and you're looking at all the beautiful leaves that are turning the different colors over the fall. It looks so great. Which we don't have a whole lot of that in California. You have to go to specific areas, but definitely like when I lived on the East Coast, it was so beautiful just watching the seasons, change. Here, it's just normally just hot. I mean, we do have the tragedy and the challenge of dealing with fires, so and rain, but we really haven't had that much rain in the last couple of years. That's why so many fires here is so dry. But it does look beautiful, however. So I'm just going to put a border here, and I'm doing a half double all around. I'm going to do 2 rows of half doubles. And if you're listening, you're like, what is a half double? Half double crochet. So double, normally it's just a matter of just having the size. So a single is here, and my cap that would be here, and then a double will be here, right? So I'm doing half doubles. have to send a picture for Priscilla. She was on earlier. I don't think she's on anymore, but Priscilla provided these squares, and I'm going to take a picture with all four of them together um, because it's like a series. My little box down there. So, like I said, I'm almost done. I'm just doing a border now. I'm somewhat of a perfectionist. I like things to look neat. That reminded me of a story from my godmother, Mama Evelyn. So she's the one who actually taught me how to hold my hands like this to protect them. Um, but I remember she asked if I would make a scarf for her, and she wanted lavender and brown. So I was making this lavender and brown scarf for her, and a hat. And the scarf, I somehow dropped a stitch somewhere early on, and I was almost done with this scarf. And the problem with dropping stitches is that, you change the shape of whatever you're working on. And the scarf was not perfect. Like, it wasn't like a perfect rectangle. It was, I don't know, it was deformed very much so. Um, but just in like one spot. So it wasn't like, I don't know. I looked at it and I was like, oh, I don't know if she's going to know, she knew. And she did. She took that whole scarf apart until it got to that row. And we're talking about like 15 rows. And I did the scarf the long way. So she took it around off all that yarn. She was like, well, you got to take it off. And so she took out like 3 rows, and I was like rolling the yarn, and I'm like crying at the same time. And I was like, I can't believe this. I'm not going to get this on back. And I was so hurt. I wanted to quit crocheting after that. But I tell you one thing, after that moment, if I drop a stitch, I go back immediately. I don't even play that game. And I have discovered ways around it, so you can kind of like hide it if you do drop a stitch, like by going through the next row and, making it so it's like leveled off based on adding another stitch on the next row. So like, but I still have triggers because of that. Just like, I could not believe she took it apart. And then she was like, okay, you finished taking it apart. So then I had to be a part of the taking it out process. I cried so much that day. And the next day, I thought about it. I was like, I can't believe you turned out so hard. I was so mad and hurt. Oh my God. But I learned that lesson. It's nothing like the feeling, you know? So I'm just doing row 2. I like to have 2 rows there. That way, if you want to roll up the beanie, you can roll it up, and you don't have to roll up the parts of the square that kind of hide it or cover it up, because the squares are important. Yeah, that looks good. Mhm. Mhm. Mm, something happened there. Hold on. What happened? Something happened. Let's do that again. Hmm. Something happened there. I think I've added too many rows. I mean, too many. Sorry. I know I was supposed to be done, but hold on. I didn't like how it was doing. It was making it the wrong shape. I need it to be perfect. Okay, let's try this again. Let's go here with it. I said I was doing half double and I started doing single. Okay, it's okay. I'm supposed to leave this out here. Okay. There we go. That's looking better already. I'm like, what happened? Way too much yarn. Okay, now we're on the right track. I was like, I think I gave myself a trigger by telling that story. I'm not telling that story no more. I'm gonna have to tell Mama Evelyn. y'all. There we go. Now we in the money. Hey, Shmoney. Just a few more now. I just need to do the last row and then this will be officially a done deal on this beanie, okay? Yeah. Boom. So just one more row. Now I can go like, because that edge the last round, that wasn't it. It's very important to get the closure correct because you don't want anything lopsided because it is yarn. You know, as soon as the weather changes or it's in a new temperature, you know, and it causes you to sweat or something like that, it's already going to change, you know, just the feel of the yarn itself. It could get heavy, it could get, you know, which you all probably have experienced when you're wearing like a knit sweater. Same thing is true is that it gets a little heavy. And so if your seams aren't correct, forget about it. And that was not correct. It already lost its shape. And there we go. Just wanted to make sure that all of my beanies are the same shape. So that's why I had to go back and do that part. So, squeeze this back in. And let's try a knot. Tie another one. Okay. And booyah, we are all done with this beanie. See there? Again, this is, I don't know if I have any more combinations of the camo collection, but we're just going to call it the camo collection from Priscilla. All right, so we have this one. This is our beanie for today. How cute. Previous week, we had this one. And before that, we had this blue one, which matches my outfit today. Hey, blue one. And then this is my favorite one. And so all of these are available. One beanie is enough to impact the life of 2 girls. So 2 girls will receive Dream Girl Kits with the purchase of a beanie. So, you know, and you also have freedom and flexibility to let me know what kind of beanie you want, you know, because there are, let's see, there are other versions, right? Because those are the camo ones, right? But these are the ones that are just like, you know, solid colors. And both of these are meant to match sneakers. If you can guess, make sure you tag which sneakers you think this one matches and which one this one matches. But yeah, that's that Ladybug. Cheers into you all to sign out on today's Sip and Stitch. See you all next Sunday. Remember, this is all for the efforts of really supporting Believe in What You Dream, which is a nonprofit arm of Yarn Movement, where these beanies will be sold and are being sold for 100% of the proceeds are going toward the Dream Girl Kids. And if you just don't want a beanie, you want to make a contribution, you can do so by visiting donate.yarnmovement.com. Again, that's donate.yarnmovement.com, and you can make a donation there. If you're interested in one of the beanies, you can click the link that I will be putting inside the bio or inside the caption or comments of this post. And if all says the same, I will see you all next Sunday, 4 p.m. And I'll be here with the smiles, with the sip and stitching as we share the power of creativity to empower the world. Cheers to you all. Esta Ladybug signing out. So now I am putting together the other sides